one thing that will help you succeed in your career as an engineer is persistence and determination. You're going to get rejected in your career. People are going to tell you you can't do it, but it's up to you to keep going. And in this week's engineering management lessons, I'm thrilled to have with me Ryan Walter. Ryan is a licensed professional engineer. He's also the author of the book called The You Project, Your Personal Guide to Self-Mastery at Work. And Ryan, you're going to share a career experience with us that really had a lasting impact on you. And it was also a big contributor to your career success because of your determination. What is that story?
Well, it's kind of a big window, 22 years. One thing that kind of stood out as I reflect on my career, I remember a time back in 2009, remember the economic slowdown, and I was out of a job. I needed to find a job. And as you know, there weren't a lot of job openings. It was hard to find jobs at the time. And I was on Indeed. I think I was on, it might have even been Monster at the time, to show you how long ago that was. But I found a job posting for a job in the city. I applied to it. They replied back that they said that the job posting was old. It shouldn't have been up on their website. So I had them on the phone and I convinced them to bring me in for an interview, and interview went well, but they said, we don't have the work. Well, then it led to kind of a discussion on how can I work for you part-time, just to get my foot in the door, and was able to kind of get a little creative and land a part-time position with this company. And it was just a matter of a few weeks later, they sent me an offer letter to work for them full-time. And I ended up staying at that company many years, but I remember that moment because it's a time where I really had to be resourceful and I really had to get creative. I had to think outside the box, and that job ended up being a stepping stone for, future jobs in my future career. So
that's awesome.
That's a moment that stood out for me.
Yeah, no, determination, persistence, and like you said, when you're up against the wall in your career, or in life for that matter, it's up to you on what you're going to do next. And, I think those that are, people that are leaders, will really, they do what they have to do to succeed, to take those next steps. And I think that that's really important. In fact, one of the biggest clients that we had at EMI from a corporate training perspective, when I emailed them at first to inquire about if they could use some training services, the answer that they sent was 2 words: not interested. I always tell people that one of our biggest clients, the 2-word response I got from them was not interested. But, I went back to them, similar to your story, and I said, listen, I'd love to do a kind of a complimentary lunch webinar, see if your engineering professionals like some of our concepts and content. And sure enough, I went there, I did it, they loved it, and they ended up bringing us on, and we ended up doing a lot of training. But, your point reminded me of that, is that you will get rejected in your career. I mean, everyone's going to. It doesn't matter how good you are, just the amount of experiences that you're going to have. It's going to happen. And this is also something that Ryan talks about in his book, The You Project, is how you react, right, is up to you. Your reaction and the way that you view these negative, quote unquote, negative situations will determine where you go in your career.
Right. So in my case, I could have saw it as a problem. Instead, I saw it as a challenge. Okay, well, there's not a job. I'm gonna create one here. Do whatever I can to create a position. And that's what reframing is all about, right? So it's being aware of your energy level and where do you fall in that energetic chart that we learned about in IPAC, right?
Yeah, and I think that it's about the situation too. Like in that situation, like your downside is like, what's your downside? You don't get the job, you still don't have a job, right? So you keep pushing and you try to get a job. And so I think, in your career, you have to understand that there's going to be times where things are going to be risky and you might have to take risks, and things aren't going to be as risky. In a situation like Ryan's, there wasn't a lot of risk there. I mean, he didn't have a job, right? So, but that doesn't mean it didn't take a lot of confidence. It's an uncomfortable situation or an uncomfortable thing to say to a company like, hey, I know that you don't have the job opening, but could you give me an interview anyway, right? And kind of keep going after it. And I'm
Right.
sure that part of the reason they said yes to that was because you look for people that are motivated and people that are passionate. You want those kind of people in your company, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. It's kind of like walking the line. You don't want to be annoying, but you want to let them know you're there, right? You're there and you're persistent.
I
But you're
mean,
not
listen,
annoying. You're just there. You're kind
yeah,
of
I
walking
mean,
that line.
if I was interviewing someone for EMI and they did that to me, I'd probably be like, man, this is someone who wants to work. This is someone who's
Yeah.
excited, like I want to talk
Yeah.
to them. So, um, well, again, Ryan's book is The You Project, Your Personal Guide to Self-Mastery at Work. Check it out. Ryan, thanks again for a few minutes. We really do appreciate it.
You bet, Anthony. Thanks a lot.
All right. Awesome message from Ryan. I've had this happen in my career time and time again. People tell you can't do it. That should fire you up and push you even harder, right? Keep going. You will get to your goal as long as you're clear on what it is and you know the impact it will have on you. And please consider subscribing to our channel here. You can get videos like this on a weekly basis to help you become a better manager and leader as an engineer. I'll see you next week.